I get a lot of questions about what kind of coal I burn in my forge here at the Pathfinder school. And most of this stuff is just coal right out of the mines in West Virginia. It comes to me in bags and big chunks sometimes, like this. And I just bust it up into smaller chunks, and that's what I burn in my forge. As long as you got plenty of air to it to heat it up, it burns just fine. It's probably not as good or clean as some of the stuff you buy for forges, but it definitely works just fine. So today I wanted to forge a couple more holdfasts. I wasn't really cracked up with the ones that I bought off Amazon by Jorgensen, to be honest with you. I broke one of them already. They're made out of a cast steel instead of a forged type steel, or a spring steel, or a rod steel of some kind. They're made out of cast, and I snapped one in half yesterday on my wood crafting bench, so I'm going to forge myself a couple more today. While I've got the forge fired up, I wanted to do some type of project as well to make another video. And one of the things that I've been wanting to make for a while is called a Cloggers knife, or a stock knife. And this is a picture of some Cloggers knives that were made by John Watts in Sheffield, England. And it's basically a leveraging type one-sided blade that's used. This hook goes into an eye-ring on a stump or on some type of hacking stock or a bench, and use that leverage to shave wood down. And bodgers use these as well. So I thought what I'd do today is I would try and forge one of these from a Horseshoe Rasp, get a handle on it, make a hook for it, get an eye set up for it that's removable from my bench, and maybe make this a multi-functional item on my woodcraft bench. So stay with me, and we'll get started on this now. As far as the stock we're going to use to make this knife with today, we're going to use a regular Horseshoe Rasp, and this is a used one that I got from an Amish farrier buddy of mine, and he just gives them to me. When he's done with them, he brings me a box of them at a time, and I use them for all sorts of projects. But a Horseshoe Rasp, you know, this thing can be used as is. It's still a good tool for around the homestead and things like that. It's still got plenty of teeth left on it and plenty of sharpness in it to take care of wood and metal with this side and wood with this side. It's just not what he would consider good for a horse anymore. But because I've got so many of them, because I get them at the right price, I'm going to go ahead and use this thing to make another tool. Trying to decide whether I want to forge the long end of this thing, which would be the drawn out portion here first, because it needs to be drawn out pretty far. I think I'll use this end for my hook and this end for drawing out. So let's go ahead and get this thing heated up and start beating it down. It's just going to take a little while. That's a heavy piece of stock to have to beat down. So we're going to go ahead with this end and kind of curve it up a little bit like this, which is where our handle goes in the end. Okay, so that looks pretty good so far. I don't want to quench this because I don't want it to be too hard. So I'm going to let it air cool until I can touch it. Then we're going to start working on this end, getting our hook in there, and then we'll start making our blade. Or we may go the other way around. We may make the blade first and then the hook. I haven't decided yet. But we'll figure that out in a minute when it cools down. Not quenching this thing, I'm just scrubbing it down with oil. I feel like it impregnates the metal better when it's hot, like this. And then I'm going to let it air cool a little bit so I can work on the other end here. I did the same thing to the other end when it was cooling down a little while ago. Okay, so we're getting somewhere on this stock knife. It's getting cooled down, it's still pretty hot. But you can see where we're at right now. And remember, this is a single bevel grind, like a chisel or a draw knife. So depending on whether you want to use it left or right-handed, you're going to have to bevel one side or the other of this tool.